A 12-year-old girl is dead. Is Uber at fault? Let's talk about it. Welcome everyone, Mark here from Uber Hints, and this is going to be a very difficult video to make because we're going to be talking about the death, the suicide of a 12-year-old girl and the role that Uber may have played in it. Now, you're probably seeing this on the news. I am going to be reading it from the New York Post online, and the headline reads, 12-year-old girl took Uber alone to jump to her death, family says. Then it shows a picture of Benita Diamond. Here's the story. A 12-year-old Florida girl called an Uber to bring her to a parking garage to kill herself, and her family blamed the company this week for her death, according to a report. Benita BB Diamond, who is from Orlando, was picked up by a driver in the middle of the night on January 10th, despite the app's policy against transporting minors. There is so much wrong with this right out of the gate. Now, I know a lot of you defend the policy of not driving unaccompanied minors, and a lot of you have taken a lot of grief for it. But there are so many red flags here. Number one, not only an accompanied minor, but an unaccompanied minor in the middle of the night. Are you crazy? Who would pick up this child? And now, here's my thinking. If they're going to sue Uber, what do you think the defense is going to be? Uber is going to say, we have a policy against this. That driver should never have been picking up an unaccompanied minor. And I am really concerned that it's going to land on the driver. And I guess we shouldn't speculate because we really don't know what's going to happen. And the true tragedy here is not what happens to Uber or a driver. The true tragedy is that a young girl is dead. But just the idea that a driver would have picked someone up, and you think it's innocent. You think, oh, so what? She's a 12-year-old. She's almost a teenager. You know, kids go out late at night these days. Yada, yada, yada. I'll get the ride. I'll make a little bit of money. And now the next morning you read in the paper this young girl plunged to her death. Let's read on. Here's a quote from her father. If Uber had followed their policy, without a doubt, our daughter would still be here, her father, Ronald Diamond, said Thursday at a press conference. Her family said the girl took her mother's phone to download the app, then used a gift card she received for Christmas to pay for the ride. Okay, here's the second problem I have with this whole thing. Uber has to crack down on who is using their app. Uber is allowing people to use the app with crazy nicknames, or allowing people to use the app with gift cards, with temporary credit cards that you can buy at Walgreens. I think Uber has a responsibility to drivers, a responsibility to the company, in order to make sure we know who is using this service. This isn't like someone going in and buying a hamburger at McDonald's. You are really creating an intimate situation when you have a driver and a passenger late at night going places where you don't know where they're going to end up. You're sending them into the lion's den in many cases without any idea who these people really are. Now, I'm not going to go so far, as a lot of you have suggested, that we should do background checks on riders. But at the very least, for crying out loud, make sure that you have a real identity with some kind of a credit card backing it up, not a gift card that a 12-year-old child can use that they got on their birthday. While her parents were asleep, she was picked up in the Uber and driven to a 9-story parking garage where she jumped from the top to her death. She left behind a note saying she was past the point of return. How sad. Now, that's not the driver's fault. That's not Uber's fault. You know, kids sometimes get these crazy ideas, and sometimes it leads to tragedy. But some of it may have been prevented had we just thought a little bit as drivers. What in the heck are we doing? I know what we're going to hear. We're going to hear from a lot of you. Man, when I won't pick up these people, I get, bad ratings. I get complaints. People berate me. They yell at me. I'm kind of scared when I pull up. They want to put the kid in, and I say no. I'm afraid for my safety because people get so volatile. Something's got to be done about driving unaccompanied minors. And to think that some companies that is their whole basis. They build their company on driving unaccompanied minors. Look at, what's that called? Hop, skip, drive straight to jail? That company would scare the daylights out of me because of something like this possibly happening. Now, I know you'll say safeguards are in place, but we thought safeguards were in place now, saying that we shouldn't drive unaccompanied minors. And look what happened. The family said they're now considering taking legal action to demand changes to the way Uber and other rideshare companies, listen to this, enforce their policies involving minors. Think about what was just said. They're already anticipating that Uber is going to say, we already have a policy in place, what do you expect of us? So they explicitly said they're focusing on how they enforce the policy. I am really concerned that this is going to land squarely in the lap of an Orlando Uber driver. Uber is going to say, hey, we wash our hands of this. We have a policy. If the driver doesn't follow it, what do you expect us to do? How would you like to be that driver who in the middle of a night should have known better to pick up a young girl and take her somewhere? But I don't know. You know, people, it's a service, they're paying for the service, they have the app. Are we expected, do we have a responsibility to be like bartenders now and card people and ID people? There's so many different facets to this story. But I think a lot of it starts with how does Uber allow people, how simple, how easy are they making it for people to just use almost any form of payment and use almost any app? You know, this little girl downloaded it from her mom's phone, so was she using her mom's phone that day? Did she transfer it to another phone? I don't know. They're not real clear. But that whole idea, it just smacks of a smokescreen. Yeah, we're going to say here's the policy, but we're going to leave it up to all these quote-unquote independent contractors to enforce it. This will happen to another child or teenager if I don't do anything right now. This is the mother talking. If I don't make sure Uber or Lyft or any rideshare company, hop, skip, drive to jail, enforces their policy. Her mom, Lisa Chen, said, they have a policy in place, but they don't enforce it. It's useless. An Uber spokesperson said the incident wasn't reported in the last 6 months, but they are investigating and will take appropriate action. What do you think the appropriate action is? That's my first question. I'll tell you what I think it is right now, but in your head, what do you think their appropriate action will be? I can almost guarantee what it will be. The appropriate action will be twofold. Number one, they're going to kick that driver off the platform. Number two, they're going to send us a little nasty gram saying, remember, you can't drive unaccompanied minors. Even though I have to research this, but I recall about a year ago, they were offering some special service, weren't they? I have to go back. My memory's not real clear on this. You know, that happens to us old timers. But it seemed to me that they were doing something to allow that. And company like hop, skip, drive straight to jail, man, I would be quivering, shaking in my boots right now when I see stories like that. My whole company is founded on transporting unaccompanied minors. Second thing I want to hear from you is, how do we do it? How do we reinforce this? Do we have to card people like bartenders? You know, some teenagers look pretty old, and some people who are 18, 19, 20 years old look darn young. So is that what this is going to come to? Is Uber going to continue to allow people to use every weird, form of payment and not even use real names on the app? Those are some things I would like to hear about from you. So I'm sorry that this is kind of a sad one, but sometimes we have to talk about those too, don't we? So as always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. Leave your comments down below. I really want to hear from you on this one. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching me, everyone. I'm Mark with Uber Hands.